All right, man. Let me play this. This is Talib Kweli and Masta Ace talking about the best year in hip hop, in their opinion.
1988. This is the year that you graduated from University of Rhode Island. So your life is beginning. To me, this is the best year of hip hop.
I agree.
So I'm going to list the albums. I just Googled it real quick.
It's a lot.
So that In Control comes out 88 or 89?
88.
So 88, the symphony comes out. Straight Outta Compton, Long Live the 𝐀𝐁𝐄𝐃, Strictly Business, EPMD, By All Means Necessary, Boogie Down Productions, Critical Beatdown, Ultramagnetic, Takes a Nation $1 million to Hold Us Back, Public Enemy, Great Adventures of Slick Rick, Follow the Leader, Eric B. and Rakim, Straight Out the Jungle, Jungle Brothers, Light as a Rock, MC Light, Going Off, Rest in Peace, Biz Markie, In Full Gear, Stetsasonic, He's the DJ, I'm the Rapper, Fresh Prince, Jazzy Jeff, Power, Ice-T, Tougher Than Leather, Run DMC, Easy Does It, Eazy-E, Life is Too Short, Born to Be Wild, MC Shan, Act a Fool, King T, Salt with a Deadly Pepper, Salt and Pepper, Girls I Got 'Em Locked, Super Lover C, Casanova Rud, Too Hype, Kid and Play, Let's Get It Started, MC Hammer. I mean, I could go on and on and on. That's the foundation of the best hip hop that's ever created. Just that 1 year.
You hit me.
Yeah.
I'm going to come to you first. You hit me with a response as to they might have a point or they might be onto something.
They might have a point.
Here's my question, or here's my comment, right? When Kweli said the foundation of hip hop, that's what resonated with me in terms of the albums that he named as it relates to the foundation of what hip hop would turn into and what it will become.
Absolutely.
That's the part where I was like, you know what? He might be on to something.
He might be on to something.
Is that where you were going with? Is that what triggered you when you heard it?
Because when I think about that, because I always knew those came out around that time. I didn't realize they all came out the same year. So I've always considered like 90.
I'm about to pull up a year that I had in mind.
Okay. I want to say 94, 95, and 98 as the best year of releases. Is what I've always considered the best year of releases.
Okay.
So now when I hear the 88 listing.
That list is crazy.
That's crazy. It's like you have to respect that because a lot of those albums that came out that year were classic albums, classic old school albums at that you can still listen to right now and they still would sound good.
They said
now, all of them won't. But there's a good amount of the ones that he named that still hold up and sound good to this day. So
I'm looking at it from a trendsetter standpoint too, for, some of those albums paved the way for a lot of stuff. We always hear people talk about gangster rap. I think Ice-T, you know what I'm saying? I think that, but
Power was one of them. And
you think about, with NWA and the lane that they created, and then you think about, Public Enemy and the lane that they created. All these lanes were created based off a lot of the albums that they was talking about.
Absolutely.
I never looked at it like that. So that's why I don't think this comment is, necessarily
it's not far-fetched at all.
It's not.
That's what I'm saying. It makes it a conversation. When you
100%.
When you think about all of those albums that he named,
yep.
When you compare it to what I would consider the golden age of hip hop, which would be like 94 to 98. Essentially,
that's what we would call it.
Exactly,
right?
But a lot of people would consider 88
to like 92 or 93.
Yeah, because
I've heard that too.
The Chronic came out in 92.
Right. Doggy Style was 93.
93.
Right?
Yep.
What you think, Jay, when you hear Kweli and Masta Ace talk about that?
There's an argument to be made.
Okay.
But I always think about 1996.
That's the year I just pulled up.
So I'm looking at the score.
Okay.
ATLiens.
Okay.
Reasonable Doubt. All Eyes on Me.
Yep.
Muddy Waters. Hell on Earth. Philadelphia Half-Life. UGK Riding Dirty. Nas, It Was Written. Stakes is High.
Yes.
De La Soul. Don Illuminati. The 7 Day Theory.
Iron Man.
Tupac, Hardcore. Beats Rhymes Life, which I think is underrated.
Yes.
Introducing by DJ Shadow. Nocturnal, Helter Skelter.
Yes. Ice Cream Man.
Yeah, if you're from the South, I can see where you would. Hall of Game by E40. Come on now.
The Dogfather. Well, we
sorry.
Yeah, we're not including the Dog.
We're gonna count the Coming. Busta Rhymes.
The Coming, definitely.
Oh, definitely. The Storm by OGC.
Legal Drug Money.
Yes, sir.
So you could make it. Look, sometimes when you go through these years, you could go through any of these years.
Yeah.
And you've pulled 10 records, you'd be like, ooh, that was the year.
But what I understand.
But I understand where like the foundation,
though.
like, come on now, even people who you might wind up not liking, like you cannot, even with Please Hammer Don't Hurt 'Em.
Come on, man.
I've been at parties.
It's cap if you don't understand that.
Somebody said, you know, I'm just going to go for mine and play. Let's get it started.
Let's go.
And it got started.
Yeah,
Facts.
absolutely.
You know,
Facts.
and this is
It does what it's
recently,
supposed to do.
You know, and it was such a diversity. You know, you talking about Eazy-E
Yep.
and Rakim,
Yep.
then Salt and Pepper.
Public
you know,
Enemy.
And even when you talk about Kid and Play's first album, their
Yeah.
debut,
Too hype.
you know, I mean, you want to talk about like 4 or 5 records off of there that move the crowd, and you know, some of them still move the
I was
crowd.
about to say I don't DJ. I'm not in the clubs anymore, but I guarantee you,
You ain't in
Kid
the
and Play
club?
got rappers.
You don't know what plays in the club?
Nah, I'm not. I'm not.
No, I'm just
But
kidding.
I know one thing. Kid and Play probably, unless I'm tripping, y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but they got records that'll still ring off.
Yeah, they got some.
There are certain say you play Getting Funky or
Yeah.
Last Night.
What's
or,
my joint? Fun House.
Rolling with Kid and Play.
Rolling with Kid and Play.
Yeah,
Fun
come on
House.
now.
All them joints is them cold. Yeah, those are cold. It's funny that you
Salt
said
and Pepper
90,
still got stuff that'll go.
96. It's funny that you said 96 because that's the year I had pulled up. Also pulled up 98. But now that I look at 98,
98
I
just
don't.
had one incredible week that was.
But I don't think it's on par with 96.
It might not be
as I
on par
look
with.
at it.
I knew sometimes the late '90s get a little clouded because it was
Yeah.
a whole lot of stuff, real good stuff coming out at that
Yeah.
time.
You know, and also I run
Any
90,
year Outkast dropped though was good to me.
Talk to him.
I run 95 and 96 and kind of together because I was my
Yeah.
freshman year of college, and you know, music really marks time. So
True.
you know, in that whatever 9 months that you're, you know,
Yeah.
for your 2 semesters are split up, you know, I got Do or Die.
I mean, but
I
if you,
also got, you know, Only Built for Cuban Links. You know,
these are iconic records.
you know, so like that 90, if you know that first and second semester, you know, you mess around and wouldn't get your laundry done buying CDs.
I will say this though, to go towards 98. When you talk about 𝐀𝐿, Talib and Mos Def, 400 Degrees, Juvenile,
Hard Knock Life.
Miseducation, Lauryn Hill, Flesh of My Flesh, DMX, Pieces of a Man, AZ, Soul Survivor, Pete Rock, It's Dark as Hell and Hell is Hot.
I still can't give it to 98 over 96.
Nah, I wouldn't. Now that I'm looking at it,
I feel you. I'm just
but
saying.
it was some heat.
Yeah, let's just go through some of the heat. That's all I'm saying. Rhythmism, DJ Quick,
Bobby Digital,
Bobby Digital, Element of Surprise, E40. I listen to that. I don't care if y'all
my
got it.
homies.
I honestly
Volume
feel like
two.
But 96
Jay-Z.
do got 98 though.
I agree. I'm not with 96 got heat.
yeah.
96 got heat. Long, what you think, man, in terms of
I think you can make an argument for every single year.
Oh, okay.
Up to a certain point.
It depends what we're talking about. If we're talking about the foundation, then that's the completely different.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
that
98,
88 was serious.
Or-
As
yeah.
far as foundation.
Let me play devil's advocate, right?
With
You-
what?
I'm talking about as you relate what I'm saying is when you talk about foundation, right? That's the biggest part of it, but Jay Moore also mentioned this foundation plus classic albums. I don't think the albums were classic because they were founding albums. They were just great albums that happened to be founding albums, if that makes sense.
I don't know. It's before my time. So
Well-
I can't have a real true, opinion on this. But what I would say is like everything that you guys have talked about and everything that you have mentioned, those are foundational pieces that have spawned and laid the blueprint for a lot of other stuff. Because for a long time, I mean, there's a certain level of 80s music to where 80s hip hop where I'm not going to call it corny, but there's like a shift that happened. And
88
like
is probably that year.
I think 88 is that year.
There's a line of demarcation to where like, okay, we're all going to wear Kangles and like,
Yeah.
It was still
and have
finding
and have a,
out
what the
rhyme patterns was
and
very
then
specific.
Rakim came out and was like, well, we can't do that anymore.
Yeah, it was like
Shout out to 𝐾𝐿𝐄𝐄 too.
that happened, and then things changed. It
Yeah.
like opened up. We started seeing a lot more variation, a lot more different styles.
Yeah.
I would say you're always seeing different styles, but I would say like a lot more.
Yes.
It was like the tree branches were like really.
People weren't dressing the same.
It was different.
Also, TV Raps hit.
Yeah.
That's a good point too. Yeah.
But
So
if we're
that
gonna
changed a
but if we're gonna
lot.
make an argument for the best, just simply best hip hop albums, I think every single year, even up to 2023, we can make an argument of 10 albums or even 20 albums that are great every single year that can compete with every other year. If you're gonna talk about from a standpoint of like what people necessarily like and are popular, maybe not. But if
I
we're
would
talking
say-
about great, yeah.
So the years that I consider
Hip-hop
those
hasn't
years
gotten-
are the years that actually shift something. So like that's why I believe when
96
he
is a
brought up
powerful
88,
year.
I feel like okay,
Yeah.
this makes sense. And
For sure.
to what you just said,
Yeah.
there was a point where things changed.
Yeah.
There was a shift in '88. In the '90s, things were shifting all over. It was like an earthquake in the late '90s.
True.
Because it was just shifting all over the place.
There's also a shift
Everybody
in
was-
accessibility.
Yeah, everybody was dropping really good albums. I hate to sound like the old dude that feels like a lot of people don't care
That's
now.
what we do here.
That's
But,
exactly what we do here.
I mean, that's kind of what it is. I feel like people don't put together albums, so to speak, anymore.
Today, it's
and
not
even
even close.
back then,
What they
there
do.
was we didn't have the opportunity to buy an album and hear it first, so we got burnt. Unfortunately, on a lot of times, having to buy an album and be like, this is trash.
The art of war.
But we would write people off.
Don't do that.
Immediately after it's trash, but I'm cool with that. You know what I'm saying? Nowadays, it's almost like if you got some singles that are ring off, you can keep going.
I guess again, I would still say it just depends on where you're looking, because if we're talking strictly commercially, yeah, okay, I get the argument. But if we're talking about just if we sit down and we're like, all right, what are the 20 greatest hip hop projects that came out every single year,
Right.
not in reference to how many people like them.
Yeah.
I think that argument,
that's
and
different. Yeah.
I feel like that argument can be made across the board, but
That's a bringing down the band thing, though.
right, which we are.
Yeah.
So
I like that. I like that.
you know what I mean? So I took it there intentionally because I feel like that's something that this argument gets overlooked a lot of times. We're paying attention to, like, don't get me wrong, I understand what the argument is, but it's like hip hop has only gotten better in my opinion.
Bro, you tweeted something and I retweeted earlier today.
Victory lap.
Yes. And I believe, I don't want to misquote you. You said something to the effect of that was one of the...
That's since that came out, that's been my favorite hip hop album.
What year
that
did
has
Victory
dropped
Lap come
since
out?
Victory Lap has come out.
2018.
Was it 2018?
That's been my personal favorite. And it doesn't mean that they haven't had good projects that have come out since then, but that one is really good.
When you said that, I thought about, because I actually I love that record. I think it's got one of the best intros or first tracks or whatever you want to call it ever in hip hop. 2018. I thought about what you said and I'm like, he's right.
I didn't even say it to be right. I just said it's just my it's just my personal opinion.
It jogged my memory to think as it relates to records that have come out since then or since that point.
Yeah.
And it's right, it's there. Like whatever you want to put in there from between now and
really good album.
It's right there. Yeah, it's right there. That is a very good project, top to bottom.
But I feel like, again, like we could very much dig deep on every year and come up with 20 amazing albums that could bracket against any other year from a hip hop standpoint.
Mhm.
Maybe not from a pop commercial level.
success standpoint.
Which,
I can dig it.
and I think
I'm not mad at that.
Again, I'm kind of pivoting the conversation a little bit, but to your point, back to the original comment, I can't really disagree with what Kweli and Masta were talking about.
Yeah, like when I heard it, I'm thinking to myself, because when Terry sent it to me, I initially was like, all right, man, let me see what they're talking about. Is this just going to try to hold up for the OGs, or is it a legit argument? And listening to it, I'm like I wasn't turned off by that. It's not like, some of these Millie Mail comments is floating around. It wasn't that. They actually justified everything that they said, and the argument was articulated correctly, in my opinion, or, done where I could actually rock with it. And it made sense to me. So I'm not mad at that, man. Like, it makes me want to go back and listen to some of those records just to kind of revisit. I've heard them, but, in the context of what they're talking about, let me go back and listen to some of these joints and understand how important these records were. You know what I'm saying? Especially for the time frame and time period.
I mean, because I was 10, 11.
Right.
But this is also when I first started. I knew hip hop was going to be my thing somewhere, way or another.
Right.
Right. And I was one of those kids that, like, especially during the summertime, Young TV Raps would come on in the morning.
Yep.
And then, like, they'd rerun it in the afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, I know what order the video is going to come on. So I can either tape them, or I'll be like, okay, I definitely want to stick in for like 4:30 to 4:40 because they're going to play this Kid and Play, and then they're going to play this Gang Starr. So like that's I guess that's what you can say. I was obsessed with the music. Like, Transformers have been canceled and it got replaced with Chuck D and LL Cool J. You know what I'm saying? Like, shout out to Optimus Prime and them, but like I found a suitable replacement.
I'm gonna give y'all, before we pivot, I'm gonna give you a sleeper year. 2005, late registration.
It's too late. What are we talking about?
I'm just saying that just we ain't mentioned 2005. That's all.
I mean, you talking about just like a good year?
Yeah, just a good year.
I thought you meant like a foundational year.
No,
We're long past that.
No, I'm talking about to your point actually. When you talk about you just pull a year. So 2005, Late Registration, Kanye, B by Common, the documentary The Game, Carter 2, Lil Wayne, The Becoming, Beanie Siegel, the Minstrel Show, Little Brother, The Massacre, 50 Cent, Jeezy Thug Motivation 101. You know what I'm saying? So to Lone's point,
Trill Bun B.
To Lone's point, you can really Monkey Bars, Sean Price. You can really start going through here and seeing some joints where it goes right in line with what Lone is talking about. You can pull a year and actually find some heat. Like those are incredible records that we just talked about, just randomly. That's just at the top of the list. I didn't even continue to go down. So that's
because
a good point.
It starts getting a little shaky once
it
you go
do get
past
spooky.
that.
Yeah.
534 Memphis Bleak. Y'all remember that one?
Nope.
I remember the secret track on there.
Well, yeah.
Dear Summer.
Dear Summer was cold. Lone, do you remember
Nope.
The Naked Truth by Lil Kim? You remember that?
No.
I remember they gave it 5 mics, and
In the source.
that's when you know.
You gotta be ashamed.
Yeah, I'd be like, the mics really don't mean anything anymore.
What the game's been missing?
How do you think Benzino feels that his daughter is having a better rap career than he?
I hope he's happy
his
for
daughter?
Coi Leray, yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
See,
you tripping because she associated with Benzino, ain't you?
Had no idea.
Yeah.